Welcome back to Socially Selective, everyone, and happy Friday. Joining us today is Courtney, a real-life sex coach and goddess.
She is a
So
goddess.
thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
I'm glad
we're
to be here.
So excited. No, we're happy to have you here.
Yeah,
I
we're
feel
so
like
excited to
we've
learn so
needed-
many things.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun,
Our
guys.
listeners, too. They had tons of questions.
I know. I'm so excited.
I was excited about all the questions.
All the questions. Courtney also has an episode.
A
Courtney has an
podcast?
episode. Courtney also has a podcast.
Yeah,
What is your podcast called?
It is Sacred Slut School.
Ooh.
What a name!
I
What
know,
a name!
I love it, I love it.
I know. Chava was like, "Oh, what's the name of your podcast?" And I said, "Sacred Slut School." And he's like, "Oh, what a name!"
You're like, thank you.
The reaction
I like it.
live for
Yeah.
from people is like, "Oh shit, okay."
Like the shook face. That's
yeah,
what everyone always
I
gives
was
you.
born to trigger. Like,
Oh,
to be honest.
I love it.
I love her already. I was
Can
like,
you-
please cuss because I don't want to be the only one with a potty mouth around here.
Oh,
Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your podcast and just why you're a sex coach?
yeah. So, as I like to say, I am a professional slut. That's good.
That's your
Describe
title.
myself. I like the
love
little
it.
goddess piece that you threw in there too. Not to suck my
You're like, yes,
Okay, also, I love that you say not to suck my, she says suck my titty. Like, it's like not to like toot my own horn, but she says not to suck my own titty.
That's cute. I love that.
Yeah, no, I'm a sex coach. I'm a certified sex coach. I got my degree from UNR in psychology. So we an
love it.
educated bitch
She's an
up in here.
educated slut, though. She an educated slut.
Yeah, I studied tantric sex and female sexuality. I'm a tantric sex and female sexuality expert.
That's amazing.
kind of like my
Can you
jam.
explain a little bit about what that is for listeners that don't know?
Yeah, so female sexuality kind of is what it sounds like. I specialize in like feminine bodies, female sexuality, the way that like their arousal types work, all of that fun jazz. So I work exclusively with women, but women in relationships,
I love that.
even non-binary people too. But the tantric sex portion is a little bit more complicated. It's more closely related to like Taoism or Buddhism. It's kind of like a very, very ancient philosophical ideology that basically believes that we are our own gods, our energy, our sexuality, everything about us is transmutable. We can move that and kind of be whatever we want. Everything is divine. So
I actually have a book on it said
Tantrum
something
yoga?
Yes, tantra,
Yeah.
right? Tantra yoga. And I've never read it.
have it.
But I have it. It's literally there on my like little bookshelf, and I'm like, I should read that sometime. I could learn a couple things.
Yeah,
but
no,
I haven't
it's,
opened it.
It's great. Tantra it's a really, really wonderful like school of thought. I specialize in neo-tantra, so a little bit more of that sexuality aspect rather than that very hard and fast, like dualistic classic tantra that most people think of. Usually when I say tantra, they're like, oh, the Kama Sutra, right? Like, yes.
And you're like, maybe.
kind of yes and no. It's a little bit more woo-woo than that, but we are pretty good at like melding the mystical and magical with more of that like scientific side.
Yeah.
Love that.
I
And if you
love
guys
it.
hear all of that, that's Chava walking in with water.
That was really fast, Chava, actually. You
That-
went in and came back. So for those of you who haven't guessed it already, today's episode is going to be all about sex and learning about the woman body with Courtney. She's going to teach us lots of things. You guys had some spicy questions for her, so she's going to answer all those.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're excited to learn too.
Should we dive in?
Absolutely. Case, can you
Alrighty.
start us off?
First question was, what can you do to spice things up when you are not really interested?
So first thing that I would say is evaluate what your motivation behind like forcing yourself is, and like
sounds
why
very forced.
why exactly do you feel that you need to like up your libido? That's usually like the most common complaint that I get with people is like, hey, like I have a really low sex drive, or my partner has a low sex drive. Like, how do we fix that? How do we remedy it? I think usually what I would tell people is, well, why in the first place would you like to? Is that something that your partner is telling you to do, or do you feel that you'd like it more? Whatever kind of that answer is. And then, you know, it varies from person to person. If you're in a partnership and maybe you guys have been together for a long time, I'd say get really curious about yourself and your sexuality. Like, try new things. Experimentation is your best friend when it comes to,
we always vouch for that,
figuring out how to like up yourself, learn about your arousal types, and we'll talk about that because that's one of my not
so let's say scenario, I think this person is in a relationship.
Okay.
So how would you go about encouraging someone to spice things up in the bedroom with someone that they've been with for a long time?
I'd say start having sex with yourself, like frequently. Having a regular self-pleasure practice is one of like the first things that I teach people is like, if you can't learn how to seduce yourself, like how do you expect a partner to be able to do that for you?
That's true.
We learned this in my sex therapy class too, because you have to teach them how to pleasure you.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And if you don't know
sex therapy,
how do you expect them to know?
Yeah.
Well, and getting super curious and learning what your turn offs are is just as important, if not more important, than figuring out what your turn ons are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, if you are so confident in yourself and your own sexuality that you can say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and here is kind of like A to B for you. I mean, you're able to communicate that to your partner.
Yeah.
Whole world will open up to you from then on out. Like,
it's all about the communication
and comfortability, and just acknowledgement that it's okay to experiment and have fun. Just like even playing in the taboo, like it's where you get like kinky, like erotic blueprint types, like playing in that taboo is what gets people off, and figuring out how to mesh that with your partner or partners is like the way to go.
I like that. I like that answer.
The answer is beautiful.
I'm taking notes.
Yourself and with your partner.
With your partner.
Yeah.
But it always goes back to communication. So I like that you emphasize that a lot.
Yeah. Learning how to communicate effectively, not only with yourself, but with a partner is like number one, like hard and fast rule, I would say, for remedying most issues in relationships. Sometimes something that seems so obvious to you or even to like your partner really isn't. I mean, we've all had that conversation where you say like, this is how I feel and this is why what you said hurt my feelings.
And they're like, what?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So guys, they have no idea. You just got to tell them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people can't read minds as much as we love to
Life
think
would
that
be
they
a lot
do.
easier.
They don't. So yeah. Okay. So next question was coming from a pregnant mama. And she said, does your sex drive go up when you're pregnant?
Yes, but with like an asterisk next to it.
Okay.
Physiologically, there's a lot of things that are going on when you're pregnant. Like there is a lot of symptoms that replicate what it looks like when a female like body type is aroused anyway. So increased blood flow to the genitals, to your nipples. Your nipples get bigger, they get more sensitive, like your boobs start to grow. And, you know, actually oxytocin is like typically considered the cuddle hormone. It actually increases like 3 to 4 fold when you're pregnant. So, lots of cuddling, lots of excitement.
Lots of
that's
physical
what
touch that you want.
Yeah, that's what helps you to bond with your body and bond with your baby. And a lot of women say that they feel sexier when they're pregnant, like having a little bit of a bump. It gives them something extra to play with. So,
I love that.
So yeah, I would say yes. And that asterisk comes in with trimesters play a lot into that equation as well. Like everything changes, your body is moving and expanding, and some people are really sensitive to hormones. It's why some birth control works for some ladies and it doesn't work for others. It's the same thing with, I mean, it's the same hormones. That estrogen and progesterone is moving up and down so much during pregnancy that can infect basically everything about yourself. So don't beat yourself up if it goes down, or even if it stays where it is, or you have days where you're, you know, extra horny or not. I mean, it's the same thing with like ovulation periods. We all have that little spike unless you're on hormonal birth control or you don't ovulate. Like there's that extra little time in the month, a couple weeks before your period, where you get all that extra energy and you feel horny. And even the type of men that you're attracted to changes, like depending on where you're at in your cycle. It's the same thing with pregnancy. So
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That's really interesting.
No wonder I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
That guy over there looks
Monday,
good. I was
Kaycee's
like, what
like,
is
you?
you?
Tuesday, you're like, not you, you.
Yeah, research
Monday, I'm like
actually,
strawberry. Next day, blueberry. The next day, vanilla.
Yeah, research has actually shown that when you're in your ovulatory phase of your cycle, women are typically attracted to more like rugged, like
man.
I don't want to say like manly, but manly men,
but
a
like
little
woodsy
bit.
type of guy.
Yeah, very
That's
woodsy
cool.
type.
That's cool.
Wow.
So when you're not like,
it's like your usual type, or
It can fluctuate back to
Okay.
like your usual type, but there are 4 phases in like the menstrual cycle, so it can change like and vary slightly.
Oh my
depending
gosh, I
on
love that.
yeah.
Cool.
interesting.
fun little factoid. I'm like full of them.
So if you're a rugged looking guy and I flirt
Look
with you,
for a
just
girl
know
on her
my
period.
period is coming up and I am not actually interested.
I ovulate in 3 days. Hit me
So
up later.
yeah,
You're like, not today, but
but like in a couple weeks,
Friday.
I'll hit you up. Okay. Next question was sent in by a male listener.
Yes.
Does size really matter? I'm above average, but was recently told it was not enough.
which let me just say, very cruel to say. Don't be telling people that they're not enough. You're enough, baby. Just, she's not enough for you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So,
It's me.
age-old question: does size matter?
Yeah.
Like, what are we in high school?
I'm going to preface this by saying there are people out there that will disagree with me, but I'm going to give you cold, hard facts.
Oh, spill it, sis.
Serve it to you straight, sweetie. I'm so sorry. It's probably not the size of your dick. It's probably your foreplay game.
Ooh,
Okay.
So this is interesting.
So the depth of the female vagina on average is only about 3 to 3.5 inches. And
So what's the point of having a...
It's unstimulated. So when it is stimulated, it can go up to about 4.75 inches. And the average male penis size, at least in America, and it varies according
varies
to like
per
culture.
region.
Yeah,
Yeah.
region. Like if you Google it, this is what you're
Yeah.
gonna see is about 5.5 inches.
Okay.
So
So fellas,
no.
you're thriving.
Yeah.
You are doing great, sweetie.
No, I don't think that size matters.
Yeah.
You know, it's the motion of the ocean. When
You said
you
that last time, yeah.
So one of
agree.
the things that I teach people specifically, like with my whole tantra vibe, is how to have energetic and ecstatic orgasms. So like you can get somebody to climax just by stimulating their brain. That's that's our largest sex organ. So when I say that it's probably your foreplay game, I'm saying you probably didn't take enough time to play with her nipples or to find her erogenous zones or even to just talk with her about what she does and doesn't like. Because I tell you, someone breathes on me wrong when the foreplay game is on point,
you're
like
done.
we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going for it, you know?
Exactly.
So no, size does not matter. Take more time before you just stick it in somewhere, because that's probably where your problem is
Gotta
coming in.
preheat the oven, baby. You gotta
Also,
preheat the oven.
that was mean. And like
Very
she
mean.
was probably angry at you for something.
Yeah.
She's probably having a bad day herself, and
It's
she
okay,
took it out
yeah.
on you.
I mean,
And that's wrong.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And for all the men out there, please do not ever say shit about your partner's vulvas. Thank you. We will
Men and
kindly
women,
never
it
say
goes
anything
both
about your
ways.
penises.
I've never heard of a guy say anything about a vulva. What have guys
Yeah,
said?
neither have I.
Oh my god, these men better not come at me like that. I'll be pissed.
What do they
Well, I
say?
mean, I assume that everybody in this room has watced porn. We
Yeah,
all,
for sure,
We all
absolutely.
know what like a
Jenny's like, I
female
freaking
vulva
love that.
Absolutely.
looks like.
Haven't we
Well,
all?
they come in all shapes, sizes,
Yeah.
colors, variations, all of the
No
things.
one's is the same.
Exactly.
They're all
And that
beautiful, diverse, little
perfect,
babies.
prim porn
Yeah,
star pussy. The percentage of people that have a vulva that look like that is very teeny tiny.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
just be
Okay.
nice.
Okay, now I see what you mean.
But on the other hand, also be nice to boys.
Yeah.
yeah, of
And
course.
penises of all sizes, shapes,
They're all
colors.
beautiful too.
Curves are
Everyone's
welcome.
beautiful.
Shapes, colors, all of the things are all welcome. We're
Yeah.
gonna be nice.
Honestly,
We're grown
I can't
adults.
believe
Like if
guys-
you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a grown ass adult.
I
Like,
hope
Yeah,
so.
I-
You're
And if you
yeah,
aren't,
right,
get off
middle
the
school.
pod.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's so funny because I remember in high school, like my friend one time was like, I don't know, something was wrong with this guy's dick. Like he had a curve. And I was like, oh my God, a curve? But then I slept with a guy with a curve and I was like,
You're like, I
"Bitch,
love
that was the
this."
best. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the curve is the best.
oh yeah, you play with
So-
that G spot with that curve. You like if you have one,
Just like it.
learn how to use it because
Yeah.
your female partners will appreciate you.
You're welcome.
So for people that maybe are struggling with finding that foreplay, can you give examples of what they could do
Yeah.
to arouse their partners?
Yes. So learning your arousal types. first thing. Men typically have something called a spontaneous arousal type. And when I say typically, I say take it with a grain of salt. It may or may not completely pertain to you, but it's that very prototypical, you see a hot ass walking down the street and you pop a boner. Like that's spontaneous arousal type.
Oh, okay.
Women typically have something called a context dependent arousal type, which means, like I said, your brain is your largest sexual organ. You have to stimulate that first.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if someone is wearing the nice thing or is touching you the right way.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about the dishes or school or homework or whatever it is, you're not going to be into it. And it's not going to happen.
It goes back to our convo about men and women.
Well, like women are more.
Chava shared with us that men, in order to not finish, have to think about other things while they're having sex, and women are the complete opposite. If you're not thinking about it, you're not going to be happy. So that's interesting that you bring that up. That's really cool. That's really
cool. So learning how to play within that and like with that knowledge, you have to kind of understand yourself, and it comes back to that very like that idea of getting super intimate with yourself and what you like and what you don't like. Well, it comes back to that. Like you need to learn to take care of all of the things outside of the bedroom first, or be completely present. And, you know, pussy breathing or breast breathing, any kind of breathing that invites presence into the body, that's the first and foremost thing to do to like get out of your head. And that's...
What are those kind of breathings? Like, what do you mean by...
So it sounds weird.
And it's like my boobs breathing? My vagina
is just like blowing air on someone's body?
No, like
so that's what it sounds
She's
like.
like, do you have to get someone to blow on your titties? And like,
I mean, you can do that
when
too.
People blow on your neck, like that arouses you. Like, ooh.
Yeah, you can do that too. No, it's more of a.
I was like, I don't know not to laugh. She was like, guys.
No, it's more of like a personal practice tactic. So like closing your eyes and imagining that your lungs are located in a different part of your body. Like imagining that you can breathe in and out of, say, like your foot or your pussy or your ass, like whatever it is that you're trying to like draw attention to. Specifically, if you're doing with the pussy, pound for pound, women have just as much arousal tissue and erectile tissue as men do.
Interesting.
That's why the shape of your vulva changes, the shape of your breast change when you are like horny. When you're in the fucking mood. So you start to breathe into that and you stimulate that without even touching yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to start to figure out exactly what turns you on and exactly
okay.
what does and what doesn't. Because you'll know instantaneously if you are so present and so in your body and someone does something that's like, Meh.
You're like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, thanks. You could go without that for next time.
That's happening
Like
to
booty
me.
stuff. Ew.
Jenny's
Not for
like,
me, but if
I'm
it's
not
for
into
you,
it. She's like, I'm
love
not
that
into
for
it.
you.
I know. We've had
I
a
get
question
pissed
about
off when
that, too.
people like breathe wrong, dude. I don't know. Like anything can just turn me off. Like I'm
You're like,
like,
oh,
I'm
we're
like,
done.
ew, why would you do that face? Anyway, done. We'll get out of my house.
Yeah, and that's that context dependent. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, I mean, as a general statement, men really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, Chava told us he was very
Chava
clear with
did
us. He's
say
like,
that,
men do not
we
care.
thought men were out here falling in love, and they were
with
not.
these bodies,
No,
and they
don't
are
even
not.
look at your body.
I know. They're thinking about their grandmas or something
Literally.
else that they don't bust that fast. Yeah.
Yes.
Chava said he thinks about the devil. Chava said he thinks about the devil during sex.
Yeah, he's like, I'll
sometimes.
literally think about the devil.
devil.
I also feel like we are selfish sometimes. Like,
Wait, can you grab a mic and say this?
our pleasure, and then we sometimes don't even give a fuck about the girl's pleasure.
Yeah.
Chava said
Yeah.
that most guys are very like
Selfish?
just focused on their pleasure and kind of forget about us girls, you know.
And remember, we matter. If
Yeah.
anything, we matter a little more. Okay.
Well, and that's
Oh,
kind of what I teach. That's like my main mantra is like teaching women how to take their sex lives back by the balls. Like
I love that.
prioritizing your pleasure.
I love these
That's
little
it.
mottos.
Like,
Yes.
be selfish as fuck about your pleasure. Like as a woman, listen,
We need to learn.
deserve it.
Yes.
Class citizens.
We deserve it.
I'm serious. We cannot be second.
She said we
to
were
men.
first class citizens.
Agreed. And like men are allowed to be selfish with
as
their
they
pleasure.
want, yeah.
What would happen if you were to try that on for a day and see what it'd be like if you bossed your little bit?
Yes.
Boss your little bitch around. Put him on a leash, walk him around the house.
you, Courtney. And you know
That's what
what?
you're
My
into.
life, not my life, but like my sexual life changed completely. Because so I used to date, like back when I was younger, you know, guys were weird when we were in like high school, and like not a lot of guys did a lot of foreplay, or they didn't know how.
I mean, they probably just didn't
know how.
experience.
Yeah. But then I started seeing older men, and they started knowing what to do, and I was like, damn, like
I love it here.
what am I doing with these little boys? But yeah, it goes to show a little foreplay goes a long way, guys.
So I love that. Those were good examples.
Our
next question.
I'm excited for this one.
What are top 3 myths about women and sex that men believe in?
I was waiting for this. So, preface this again by saying I do not know what it's like to walk in the shoes of like a cisgendered man or even a trans man. Like, I don't know what that lived experience is. So this is my view. These are men that I have talked to, and my circle of men is very specific. So take this as you will. I did a lot of market research.
Take it with a grain of
before
salt.
this. Yeah. First one, and I would say this is like a generality. Too many men think that porn is real.
Ooh.
I didn't even think
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that, and that is true.
Not real at all.
Sex is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Porn is entertainment, and I feel like men more so than women don't treat it accordingly. And so that's my first one. It's not real.
Yeah, that was a great one. It could be the only one I'd be like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That one takes the cherry on top.
Yeah, and like grown-ass men. Like, I even talked to my partner, I mean, like a year ago, and was like, so what do you think about porn? He goes, I like it. I think it's great. I like to watch it. And I'm like, okay, great. So
what do you like?
What do you like about it? Because there have been a couple of moves that you've tried on me, and sweetie, that shit don't shake like that.
You're like, it didn't work, honey. It didn't work.
didn't
so
Reverse cow, not for me. Thanks, though. It hurts my legs, but I appreciate you and the effort that you put into
it
doing
looks
your own
cute,
research.
but it doesn't
looks
feel
like
good.
it'd be a fun time.
But it's
Theoretically.
not. Yeah.
But practical? Mm-mm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, so that's my first one. I wanted to start that off with a bang.
You did. That was a bang. That was a bang.
Second one, I would say, I mentioned it earlier, but the arousal types. I think that collectively men think of women as having that same arousal type as they do, and it's just not correct. And that's the biggest disconnect that I see in sex lives, particularly in long-term relationships, is you have this go all the time when you first start dating a new partner, because there's so much excitement, you want to learn everything about each other, but then you get into a routine, whatever, and all of a sudden it's the same old story of like, my wife just doesn't want to have sex with me anymore, my girlfriend doesn't want to have sex with me anymore, I don't know how to turn her on, like, do you not think that I'm sexy anymore? Like, what's wrong with me? And then you get this whole big spiral of women thinking that they're broken. There's something wrong with them. Maybe there's something that they don't like about their partner anymore. And really, the truth is, you just aren't turned on by the same things anymore. And just, you have to figure out what exactly trips it. Like, what are the things that are turning you off subconsciously that are affecting your sex drive? And so that's one that I deal with quite a bit. So,
And last one,
and this one was hard for me. So I think from the men that I have talked to, there's this very surprising general consensus that women are not as sexually adventurous as men, or they're more judgmental of their partners, specifically male partners, bringing up new fun things to try in the bedroom. Unless it gets to the point of, damn, I've been with my husband for 30 years and we're not having sex anymore. What can I do to spice it up?
Yeah.
And it's just not true. Like,
no, I know so many girls that are down to try anything. And
there's just this idea that women are not as sexual as men. And I know that story has changed quite a bit in the last 5 to 10 years, thank God. Because it used to be that women just were seen as non-sexual beings. And I mean, like I said, I'm a professional slut. I teach women how to be professional sluts.
You're like,
that is
trust
just
me,
not
honey.
true.
You're like,
we
I
like
wouldn't have
to
a
try
job if they weren't sexy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I'd say that those are the 3 most common ones that I get. And I don't know, Chava, do you
have any
wanted to
myths
ask
What do you
that
think about women?
myths
Yeah,
that
or
guys
women in
think
sex.
of women? But do you want to get closer so you can say it into the
or
mic?
can you get a mic? Or can you get close to anybody? Okay.
I'll get close to you.
let's see, myths. I guess the one thing I wanted to add on the watching porn thing, like what's a good replacement for that? If porn isn't the one place where we can learn how to like, you know.
type of porn, because there's also different porn.
Yeah, so that was a good point, Jenny, is
Because I do find it a problem because it also desensitizes you. Because
yeah.
like you watch all this porn and then when you're doing the real thing, it's nothing like that. You
No.
know what I mean? So
Absolutely not.
And I feel like
Yeah.
it also hurts women because you feel like you have to put on a show like those women put on a show, or like be loud like that, and you're like, but I don't want to
Yeah.
be loud.
Yeah.
But I want it
Well-
to be romantic.
I didn't really think about anything else. So.
No, that's a good
I don't-
No, that's a good, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Thanks, Shava.
So finding like alternatives to porn, I think is,
Because it doesn't just have to be Pornhub, babies. It can
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I don't know other porn sites.
so
I don't
there
either.
are. I know
There's
there
plenty
are.
of others, yeah.
There's like
I thi-
something tube. No.
there's like I think it's X-Tube.
Oh.
There's a few of them. And
Yeah.
like that general Pornhub porn site type of deal is great. And like I said, it's
free.
It's the entertainment yeah. It's the entertainment industry. Like it's just like any other movie
Yeah.
or like erotic book
Yeah.
that you find like out on the, mainstream market. Just take it with a grain of salt. I
It's
think
a fantasy.
they're selling you a fantasy. Treat it accordingly. Porn stars do not make that sound. The cum shots that you see online
Don't always
It's not even cum.
happen.
It's like fun fact.
What?
It's not. Sometimes it is, but
I was like,
It's
dang.
like, okay, 1 out of 10. Real.
no. They like a lot of the times will mix hand lotion with a little bit of Vaseline or water.
Oh, wow.
Looks like cum. There's like a
Oh my God, I
a
didn't know
coconut
that.
puree that you can get for cocktail mixers. You put a little bit of water in that. Looks just like it and it doesn't taste like shit.
And so those girls are looking that
also,
up.
That's why they're like,
Yeah.
totally makes sense. Because who would want to?
Oh, and the squirting shots, sweetie. That doesn't happen. Just going.
Very rare for it to
Also,
happen.
That doesn't.
Squirting
No. Can we not? Can we stop that, please? They put little
Oh, yeah.
packets inside their coochies, and if you hit it just right, it squirts. Yeah, no, it's learned a lot from my time doing OnlyFans. Like,
myths.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love it. You gave us more than 3 minutes, okay?
Yeah, no, I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, there's like
So that's
7
how
in
you know
there.
it's a fantasy. No,
No, but I
one's
would say,
actually
like-
really finishing.
Oh, so don't.
Yeah.
So you're not saying like stop watching porn. It's
I know.
bad.
I mean, nobody's discouraging
It's
that, I don't think.
No.
basically like take it as it's a movie.
Yeah,
Basically, it's
not
not
real.
real life. Yeah.
Well, and if you're looking for an alternative, OnlyFans is great,
OnlyFans.
That's true.
and it
And
rose
more
in
realistic.
popularity, especially during COVID times. I know a lot of the guys that signed up for my OnlyFans were kids that I was friends with in high school. Like,
Yeah.
you can actually live out that fantasy and
Yeah.
talk to those girls and ask them questions. You can ask them to do
Wow.
fun, custom things for you.
Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
your OnlyFans? Like
I
how
loved my OnlyFans days.
how'd that go?
Yeah, tell us. How did you know you're like I want to make an
Yeah.
OnlyFans?
bored?
I was kind of in that same
Were
like
you
COVID
bored?
spot. I was in school. I was doing my sex, love, and relationship coaching program, and like I took out a hot loan for that. And I just finished up at UNR and was like, you know what? I need to make a little bit extra cash. Like waitressing ain't doing it right now because
Yeah.
obviously everything is closed.
Yeah.
So I started selling nudes kind of on the side, and it was fun story. My roommate actually pimped me out to one of our neighbors.
She sent him pictures of you.
No, this
Or-
guy came over. He was
Okay.
helping like my roommate put something up on a wall, and he was like, "Damn, like your roommate is really fine." And he goes, "She sells nudes if you want something." So I charged him like 3 times what I normally do,
Yes, girl.
Make
Make
that
that bag.
and no finder's fee for my roommate either.
Yeah.
You're like, sorry, baby, my body, my money.
Yeah.
So like I want to do that, but like with feet pics.
Same.
Like I don't want to show my.
Don't we
titties.
all want to do that?
Yeah.
I tried it.
Was
And
it
it's
hard?
not. It's not.
Girl, it's
No,
like
huh?
selling panties on
It's
the
a
internet.
niche.
It's so overdone. Like people, it's really
Hard.
really hard. I tried doing Findom for a while. I tried
Which is what?
I tried a lot of
is that?
things. It's more in like the kink BDSM community. It's financial domination. Basically, it's
Oh, okay.
dominatrix without the sex.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there's no sexually touching. It's all done online. But basically, there are men that have a kink where they like being dominated financially. So they have their financial dominatrix who they allow access to all of their financials, all their bank information.
Dude,
That's a good.
That
a
dominatrix
what is
will
this called
basically
again?
give them FinDom.
So
yeah.
like,
it goes online right now.
Yeah, they basically give them an allowance, which is
Wow.
usually just enough for them to live. And the rest goes to them.
that's nice.
What?
Hard.
People are into this?
It's hard. It's hard. Trust me. And it takes a lot of research.
A lot
and
of work.
I talk about it. I'm heavily involved in the kink BDSM community. So like consent, understanding that this is a community that is very hard to get into if you're trying to do more advanced things like that. OnlyFans is a great way to break in and kind of get to know sex work.
The vibe.
And and have an appreciation for sex workers because they are heavily undervalued in society.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
But yeah, no, I loved it. I had so much fun. Like I said, a lot of guys that I went to high school with that I had no idea even had a crush on me were
We're
like,
subscribing.
"Hey." Oh, and the customs.
Just so people, if you're not
Oh my God.
watching,
Oh, yeah.
Courtney's a 10 out of 10.
She's a total babe.
So if you haven't
She's a
seen
babe.
her, check her out.
No, you guys, I walked
She is
in
a
and I
real
was
life
like,
goddess.
oh my God, I have a crush on you. I was like, you're like beautiful.
Ladies,
Yeah.
I'm too gay for this. You both are so cute. Like, stop it.
Courtney's like, oh, you
Love
think
my
I'm
hair.
hot? All
This
right.
is the episode to watch.
Okay.
Fun ass episode so far, guys. Ball.
Next question is, what is the best and most realistic sexual advice you could give to someone?
Exploration and curiosity are your best friends.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be performative, which I feel like is what we think of a lot when we talk about sex, especially like if you want to have the best sex game, if you want to be the best person in bed ever, a lot of performance goes into it. So taking that out of the equation and just getting really curious and going into it with a beginner's mind, guarantee conversations about consent are going to go completely different. Consent can be sexy. Talking about what you do and don't like is sexy. Talking about boundaries even can be really sexy when you do
love
it
boundaries.
properly, when there's no end game. I'd say take the end game out of it. Like orgasm doesn't have to be the only way that you finish or enjoy yourself. And especially for women out there, kind of a game changer. The idea that you don't have to have this like prototypical climax, like orgasm, clitoral stimulation moment to enjoy yourself. Having male partners that understand that is huge. Like just getting so curious and coming at it as if you're a teenager having sex for the first time and you've never heard
You're just
anything
in it for
about
the ride.
sex before. You didn't. You had no
This is my
prior
first time.
education.
You're like, hey, I'm a virgin.
I've never ever had sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
Oh, that's so precious.
taking prior like misconceptions out of the equation and just going at it
With an open mind.
completely open mind. Yeah.
Zero
Love that.
expectations.
Yeah, zero expectations, and I guarantee like that'll up level your sex life more than anything else.
I like that. I feel like I have
Easy
way too many
advice.
expectations.
Like
Don't we all?
falling in love.
Yeah.
I think all of us, or maybe it's just me.
I get the ick after I have sex with some.
Oh yeah, you
people.
did say that. Yeah.
I do get the ick. I'm like, maybe because I had high expectations.
What is it? Oh God, I'm trying to think. What was it called, Daddy? Post nut clarity.
Yes, that's what you called it. Or
Oh, yeah.
what did you call it? Post nut
That's what you
clarity
said?
or post nut?
I just didn't want to say it, but
Oh, okay.
she doesn't mind.
No, she does not mind.
Having high expectation, isn't that something you can work on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you weren't super pleasing the first time, I feel like it's such a deal breaker.
No, it's not a deal breaker. I just don't have the time or patience for some people. But if I like someone, of course I'll teach you. I'll
And
teach
teaching
you.
can be fun.
Yeah. Next question.
Oh yeah. I was so excited.
Jenny's face is
I was like, what's going on? I skipped over to the next one, so I thought it was your turn.
You're funny.
But the next question is, how can someone work on being comfortable with their body during sex?
That's a hard one. You have to address why exactly you're uncomfortable with your body. I mean, we've all probably heard that like age old, I guess it's not age old saying, but you know, specifically body type and the perceptions that we have about our bodies are probably one of the easiest ways to like get out of your head and like lose presence while you're having sex. So visiting why exactly you believe what you do about your body is probably like the easiest way to quickly go through like those misconceptions and realize that like it's not fucking true. Like having stretch marks does not make you ugly. Having cellulite does not make you ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, back in ancient Greece, women that were full bodied and had curves and had rolls, that was the epitome of like the ideal female body.
Yeah.
And now we live in an age where it's kind of starting to move through, but body types cycle through in the media and in our own heads and in society like nobody's freaking business. I mean,
like, remember when it was a thing to like not have an
butt.
ass and like just be petite, but now it's like you want
be
curves.
skinny.
Yeah, and
Like,
now it's like
skinny.
if you don't have an ass, are you kidding?
well, in the
Like, you
90s, I mean, it was
never-
freaking heroin chic was the ideal body type. Like,
Yes, and absolutely not.
Heroin chic. What is that?
When you're just like sickly skinny.
yes, like, like you look like you are
You're
on
on
drugs.
drugs.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
drugs. Like having
Your hair's like falling out because you're so skinny.
Like, I love that
Bad,
look. I
bad,
love that
no.
look.
yeah, I think just really addressing that and getting super comfortable, like the amount of power that you as a person, regardless of your gender, will hold when you are able to look at your body in the mirror and say, you know what, I don't give a fuck. That's what I love about this body positivity movement that has been really cycling through, like plus size women, transgender individuals looking at their body parts and saying, you know, I'm fucking cool. Like I'm hot.
I'm
If you-
hot. Yeah.
So sexy.
God, you ever just like seen somebody that maybe like conventionally isn't super attractive, but they are so
The
confident that it makes you
confidence.
kind of take a step
Yeah.
back.
Exactly. I was
It's
gonna
all
mention
about the
that.
confidence.
All about the
all
confidence.
about the confidence.
I mentioned performance earlier and like I'm not a huge fan of it, but
Yeah.
honestly, trying it on and pretending like you were a confident
Yeah.
ass bitch regardless.
Putting on a show
nobody's
for
gonna-
yourself.
Put on a show for yourself and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like that will take you from A to Z. I did that with my own personal journey. Like when I was in school, I had to go through 3 months straight every single day of like 2-hour workshops dealing with my body, having to like actually take a physical mirror
Wow.
and look at my vulva and say all the things out loud that I hated about it and hated about the way that my breasts looked and my body looked and my hair looked. And over time, I desensitized myself to how desensitized I was originally to my body. And
Yeah.
I realized how absolutely ridiculous it was.
It is so ridiculous, but I feel like we all do it. There's times where
absolutely.
yeah.
We all
look at
go
myself.
through it. So if you're going through a moment of not liking yourself, just know that you are not alone. Even the cutest, most beautiful girl has her insecurities.
has her rough days.
Yeah. So nobody's perfect, but we do have to love ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's days where I'm like, I'm the baddest bitch around, and then
And you
today-
just have to change your mindset.
Yeah.
You just have to say, "Oh my God, you know what? You look cute
so
today.
cute. Yeah,
I love you, girl."
Like there's times where I wake up and I know I'm like I'm not gonna have a good day, or like in my head I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
and
if
then
you say
I'm like getting
that,
ready for work,
You're gonna have a bad day.
and I'm like, but you're so cute. Look at you and your little abs. But you're so
Well-
cute. Look at you and your little hair.
Yeah, and
I have to talk
Self-talk.
myself up.
every experience is completely valid, and like sitting with your uncomfortability is so hard, and just acknowledging that it's okay you are uncomfortable that day in your own skin, and ask yourself what it would feel like to just sit with that uncomfortability. Maybe don't like go down that whole rabbit hole and like launch yourself into a trauma spiral, but just see what it feels like to look at it and look at yourself and the way that you're feeling and see how it changes. And pro tip, honestly, throw in a couple of orgasms. If you don't like the way that your belly looks that day, throw in an orgasm with your vibrator while you're looking at your belly, and it actually
But I've never thought.
it rewires your brain the same way that like sweets do when you're
Yeah.
having a bad day, like people stress eat.
Yeah.
You are
Ooh.
flooding your body with all those like amazing feel good hormones and
Yeah.
vibes. Eventually your body and your brain will start to associate that body part with orgasms and with pleasure,
And
and
you
it'll
love
completely
it.
rewire your brain to
Wow.
not hate it so
Very
much.
cool.
So we know what Kaycee's doing
So
today.
you don't have to eat chocolate. You can just give yourself a little
oh.
Oh yeah.
Next one. How big of a role does positive reinforcement play in getting a woman to finish?
Depends on the woman. Some
True.
women love praise and like that is a kink for a lot of people, being told like, good girl, like that feels good. I like that. Having that positive reinforcement and being validated in yourself and your experience, and that you're pleasuring your partner, can be really, really hot for some women. Whereas others just want to be smacked around and degraded. Like, it depends on the female, and it depends on the female. It depends on your partner. It doesn't even have to be male, female, non-binary, whatever. It's just,
we're just a very girly. I feel like we come off as a very girly pod.
Yeah.
So it's totally fine if you say girl, because we try to correct ourselves all the time too.
I'd say ask your partner, hey, do you like it when I tell you that it feels good? Do you like it when I say this? Or do you like it when I say that you're useless and I don't like you?
You're like,
You
what?
stink.
Depends on that.
What did
Depends
you
on the day. Sometimes I'm into that. I'm like, hey.
You're like, thank you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was
Cute.
great advice.
Loved it.
Our next question is advice on how to get more comfortable with bigger anal toys.
This is Jenny's question.
This
by the
was
way.
not my question.
'Cause we know
If
how
you listen to
Jenny
the
loves
pod,
butt stuff.
Definitely not me. But I love it for you, babe.
Butt stuff, anal toys, all of the fun things
Yes.
with the asshole.
So fun.
That one's
What's
hot.
that? I was like, what's that face?
It's another one of those things where it goes back to asking yourself what your motivation is behind it. The butt is one of the few places in the body where you can't just like shove your way through.
Yeah.
There has to be so much trust in yourself and in your partner. Takes a lot of breath work, takes a lot of patience. Like, that is the first and foremost thing. I know it sucks. Like, people would probably like me to say, oh, just get this like really amazing lube that they carry at Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Here's my discount code.
Dude, that would have been so funny.
I would have loved it. Been like, ooh,
Oh, by the way,
Courtney
save 10%. Yeah.
I know. Sacred slut for 20% off.
Yeah.
Soon. The discount code will come soon.
It's coming. Adam and Eve, I see
Absolutely.
you.
I
Like,
see. Yeah. She's manifesting it.
No, it's just a lot of patience. You have to be so patient with yourself. Your partner has to be patient. If you have somebody like sitting there trying to like shove something up your ass and you're like, no, you can take it. Like, you can
No,
take it. It's
oh
like,
my God,
no, I
no.
can't take it. And you're not
like,
listening to me.
I literally just got chills.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
You're going
Not
to
for
clam up.
everyone, but if it's for you, breath
Yeah,
work.
and be okay just
And
saying,
lube.
I don't fucking like it.
Yeah.
It's
But I think this
okay.
person does.
She just, they're
She just wants to
like,
know
what is up?
how
this
to get
person
used to
does
it.
Want to explore that.
Do it yourself. Do it alone and do it a
Okay,
lot.
okay.
So
Practice makes perfect.
don't have a partner force you. One of my favorite tricks, actually, and I think I got it at Crazy Sexy Hot. I don't know if
Is
they're
that,
from
like,
Reno.
the store?
Yeah, it's a
I've seen
sex
their
shop.
billboards.
Yeah, off of Rob
Yeah.
Drive. There is a silicone butt plug with like a very interesting kind of like taper at the end. And I tried that instead because I was trying to also like kind of work up and do, traditional anal training.
Yeah.
I have found that the cold metal can sometimes be really jarring for the body unless you warm it up first.
You're getting shocked with
Yeah,
the
you're getting
coldness. Yeah.
Nobody wants to have an ice cube touch their butthole. I'm sorry.
Or
Like,
any part of your body. I think whenever you feel
You
cold, you're like,
freeze up.
yeah, you clench.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your
Yeah, you
automatic.
do.
So look into either warming your toys up first or silicone butt plugs, and make sure it's flared. Please don't put anything up your butthole that is not flared on the end. You will lose it, and then you will have a very awkward trip to the hospital.
Oh my God.
Many trips to the ER.
I guess I
because
never
of butt
thought
stuff.
about the flared, but I also don't do butt stuff. So I was like, the flare.
This was actually Kaycee's question.
I was like, sorry, asking for a friend. Does the sex drive die out if you're having sex daily as a couple, as in a couple times a day?
It depends on the type of sex you're having. For sure. I think if you're having that very animalistic, like rabid, when you when you
the
first
same
meet somebody,
sex
you just
all
like
the
want to rip their clothes off. That's different than going out to dinner and whining and dining your partner and coming home and making sweet love to your person for hours. Like,
That's the best.
yeah. Yeah. And so
Everyone's
it
fave.
depends on
Yeah.
the type of sex. I'm assuming that if you're having sex multiple times a day, every single day with a long-term partner, it's probably gearing more towards the first type.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is
it can get
impressive.
boring. You can get bored
Yeah.
doing the same old thing when you break into a routine, especially for women. And I talked about that context-dependent arousal type. Your brain can wander. It's like when you do the dishes. You're never present when you're doing the dishes or doing laundry.
You think about everything else.
Yeah. So yes and no. It's not something physiologically that just dies out. Like it's not an inevitability with partnership if you're having sex that often. But I would say if that's a problem that you're running into, change the type of sex you're having and even go weird with it and just see how it goes. It might increase
Spice
or lower
things
your
up.
libido, and then you'll know not to do that again. Get curious. Just always be curious.
And
but
you'll have that story. You'll be like, remember when we did that? Wasn't that
wild?
It was not cool.
that's I feel like the best part about having a long-term sexual partner or partners or people that are very in tune with themselves is you don't have to play that weird, I have to shave every piece of my body and I have to look, smell, and taste a certain way because what if they think I'm weird? Like,
did I eat pineapples the night before?
yeah,
Did
no,
I not?
you can get weird with it and just
Yeah.
experiment. And you know that if something weird does happen, like it's like fart.
While sucking dick.
Yeah.
Who does that? I don't know.
Like Kaycee.
If something like that happens, you know that they're not just gonna like up and ghost you after
Yeah.
Yeah.
that. So
They're in it for the long haul.
yeah.
So you can get as cringy as you want. That's
Aw.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good advice.
Step 1, find a boyfriend.
Next question is, are kinks linked to trauma?
No.
Oh, I didn't expect that answer, actually.
I didn't know. I didn't research it.
That
I didn't either, but I was just...
question is a no with an asterisk. The kink and BDSM community specifically is really wonderful for exploring trauma in a safe, sane, and consensual way. And kinks can be an amazing opportunity for people to explore triggers, past trauma, but it's not inevitably or only linked to trauma. There are a lot of women out there that have, sexual assault and rape fantasies, but have never been sexually assaulted or raped. It's just, and then there are people that have been raped and have those fantasies because it helps them take back control.
Okay.
That's basically what kink and BDSM is all about anyway, is having that control, being able to give your consent and take it away whenever needed. So you can explore trauma in a really safe way if done properly. So yes, it can be linked, but if somebody has a kink that maybe is a little bit more unique, they're not damaged. It doesn't mean that something happened to them. If they don't want to talk about it, they don't have to. But I would say that's something that I would like people not to link anymore.
It's like a big assumption. Like
It's a huge assumption, and it's really harmful. It can be, and even if it is linked to trauma,
kink
if you
shame.
ask somebody
That's so... It's just...
without their consent first, you might launch them into a trauma spiral
Yeah.
that you had no idea that they were going to go down, and they might not even understood. There are a lot of people that repress trauma and learn how to process it safely through kink if they otherwise can't afford therapy, or like I said, they've repressed it, they don't remember. So be very careful if ever asking partners about that.
Okay.
And don't assume.
And don't assume. That's a big assumption, guys. Okay, almost
This will be our last one.
Okay. Tips on how to have fun, safe sex with someone new.
Make talking about consent fun. We all hate having that conversation of like, hey babe, can you wrap it please? Like, especially when you first start
having to
sleeping with
ask
somebody.
I hate having to ask that.
Because you never know if like it's a male partner, if they don't
STDs.
like wrapping it up, like
Yeah.
having conversations about, have you been tested?
And you never know how they're going to react. I feel like that could like
Some
set
people might get
off.
offended,
Yeah.
but really
like, do you think I'm
shouldn't.
infected, or you think
Yeah.
I don't know? I don't freaking know.
I
I don't
think-
like to ask. It makes me nervous.
Yeah, there's this
I don't think-
really big like overarching theme of talking about consent and talking about boundaries and having like quote safe sex is boring and it's tedious and we don't want to do it. When in reality you can. Like if you're making out with a new partner and you whisper in your ear like, hey, like do you want me to wear a condom, or is there something else? Like, maybe bring a little bit of kink into it. Like, hey, I'm not trying to make a baby, but like we can play with it, you know, like make it fun, make it not so scary. Yeah. And it can be really sexy having somebody ask you like, hey, is there something that you well, like, hey, is there something that you do or don't want me to do? Yeah. It opens up a conversation without having to be like, hey,
put a condom on.
Do you want to have a baby?
Yeah, wrap it up. I'm on birth control. Like, chop, let's do the thing.
I guess it's all about the delivery, how you bring it up.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with like non-monogamy as well too. It's a really great opportunity for you to like sit down with a new potential partner, or just hookups in general. Say like, hey, this is kind of what I'm into, and this maybe what are you into? Like, let's talk about it. Let's have fun. Let's grab a drink. Like, let's play. You know, it doesn't have to be boring, and it doesn't have to be annoying.
That's a good response.
I guess I just have to work on my delivery then. Like, I'm always scared.
Here we are telling people to always ask, and you don't ask.
No, I do. No, I do. But I'm saying I don't like it.
Safe sex always, babes.
Always. But I just hate having to ask,
no
you know?
babies unless that's what you want.
But yes, I am safe, Jenny. I'm as safe as they come. Well, thanks, Courtney, for joining us today.
You guys.
You were amazing. I feel like I learned. We did it for everybody else, but we learned a ton too. Yeah.
Before we head off, we do want you to plug in your pod one last time. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me kind of anywhere that you find your podcasts. Sacred Slut School. My website is also Sacred Slut School. You can find me on Instagram, Court_Martinez. All of the fun things.
Yes, and it's a great pod. It's a great pod. We post. I listened to a couple episodes and I was like, damn, she's so funny. Yeah,
they do get hot. It's ratchet. I love
it though. It's a good ratchet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And very educational. So you'll learn this and much more on
She's
her
an
podcast.
Educated slut.
Yes,
that's what we call her.
I actually have a lot of men that listen to my podcast too, and you can learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
If you are
I think that's a good way.
A penis bearer.
Maybe you should, if your partner's not satisfying you, just send them over Courtney's podcast.
And not only that, but she can coach them. Do one-on-one coaching.
She does coaching too.
Yes, I do offer one-on-one coaching packages. I work with women and non-binary, but like feminine leaning humans exclusively. Can be in a partnership. You can be single. We work on love, sex, confidence, all of the things. And it's a lot of fun. And my coaching container is probably like my most favorite thing that I do. The podcast is great, but that's the place where we do like the real deep work. Yeah.
Yay. Love it. Well, thanks for joining us, girlfriend.
Thank you guys.
For everyone
for
listening.
listening.
We hope you'll be back next week.
Yes, and don't forget to follow us on TikTok,
Instagram,
and YouTube.
And leave us a rating.
Yes.
I was like, what else did we forget? Oh yeah, a rating.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Love you.
Bye.